Hello everybody, welcome to Artxplorer, and in this first tutorial video I will be showing how to do a simple 3D cube. Now the 3D cube is pretty much I think the basic shape you should learn to do first if you're starting and wanting to attempt to draw 3D objects. It's the most simple object you can do. And after you've drawn the 3D cube, there are many things you can do and draw further once you've established the cube. For example, you can draw a dice, buildings, a house, and of course, I think the most common thing you see on YouTube is a Rubik's Cube. Now, let's go over the basic materials you're gonna need to start your 3D project. So what I have here is your basic mechanical pencil, okay? And a fine point pen marker. And this is so that when you've drawn your object, you can make the lines darker or look nicer. And you need a phone, okay? So this is the phone you can use to take the picture of your 3D object. Now I like to use a phone that has a big screen. This is an iPhone 6, it's got a nice big screen. And this is just so you don't strain your eyes when you, during the process that you draw your 3D project. So next I've got here is a piece of string. Maybe about a good 24 inches in length, a basic eraser, and some masking tape, and of course a ruler, okay? Now before I begin the steps, let me just go through to two basic foundations of 3D drawing. One is about camera angle. So I'm not gonna get into the scientific explanation of why camera angle is important. I'm just gonna tell you, I think just be easier this way. So basically for camera angle, you just have to know that each 3D drawing that you do, there's only gonna be one camera angle in which you take the picture, and that picture will look 3D. So if, for example, if I set my camera here and I draw the 3D object, make sure you remember, that you have this camera position. And you'll see, and I'll show you that when you start moving your camera angle around, this will distort and this will change your 3D picture. So very important that you remember from which angle you take your picture at. And the second thing you need to know is, following the first foundation is that once you have your camera angle set, just remember that any line that comes from the camera lens on throughout the paper, so imagine the camera lens is here, and you imagine lines going out of the camera lens in different directions. When you draw these lines onto the paper, these lines will appear to be vertical through the camera lens. Now this is very important because if you're drawing something like a cube, of course a cube has height that comes up. So these are two basic things you just have to remember. Okay, so let's start, okay? So first, what I'm going to do is get my 3D cube base set up. And basically, for example, I might want to just do a cube that is, say, maybe a good 4-5 centimeters on each side. So I'm just going to start by drawing the base of the cube. So imagine your 3D object will have, the cube will have the base on top of this paper. So you just draw a regular square. I'm gonna make this 5 centimeters in length and width. Okay. So, your basic square that you have there. So now, as I told you that lines coming from the camera lens will appear to be vertical, and the way what you can do to help draw those lines is by using this piece of string and anchoring it onto the table. So I'm just gonna twist this camera over here so that you see that, okay, I'm probably going to be taking the picture from here. So imagine this will be the anchor point of your camera lens. So what you can do is take this piece of string, get some tape, and then just anchor it on to the table like this. This will help you so that when you're drawing your vertical lines on the paper, it will help you keep your lines anchored coming from the camera lens. So now if you imagine the cube, it's gonna have, right, the edges of the cube. So what you can do is set your piece of paper here and start drawing. What I might want to do is just make sure this piece of paper stays in place. Just pin the edges here. Okay. So drawing one side of the cube, you can stretch this piece of string, okay? And then take your piece of ruler here, and there, you've got one side. Okay. The next edge of the cube. Okay. The last edge of the cube. Now you can draw this edge on the back here too, but just remember that, you know, in real life, if you're coloring in the cube, you won't see the side of the edge of the cube. Okay, but you can just draw it in anyways, and so this will create pretty much a transparent cube. Okay. So now what you're gonna see is that as I twist my phone here and bring the lens to that anchor point of the paper, the lines will start to appear to be shooting up and going vertical. There, see? Just bring it closer a bit there. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, I mean, there is no exact correlation in terms of, you know, the length of these lines and the exact height of how to measure. So the best way, honestly, is what I do is I just, you know, eye it. What I'm doing right now is I'm just looking through the camera screen. I'm seeing these vertical lines, and you can just take your pencil here. You notice that it seems as though your pencil is, you know, following this vertical line up. And pretty much you can just mark on the paper in terms of how high you want your cube to be. So, you know, this is a good practice if you want to, say you want to draw a tall building, you can mark the lines up here. But okay, as I'm doing the cube, I'm just going to pretty much eye and mark around that the top of the cube to make it a square, and make it the square the same size as the base. Is maybe around there. Okay, there. So now I've got the height marked. So now what you see now there is that you see this dot where I've marked the height of the cube. And pretty much now you're just going to draw the top square of the cube so that it meets the other lines on the edges of the cube. As you see that from the Pacific camera angle, these lines will be vertical. So what you can do is just draw your basic square and match the size of the cube to the different lines of the edges, like so. Okay, now you can see that I've cleaned up the lines. I've gone over it with a black marker and erased all the pencil lines so it's nice and clean. And now look as I slowly move the phone back to the angle of the anchoring point that I taped the string at. The lines will slowly begin to appear. That is shooting up and starting to become vertical. And if I take my pencil here and put it up about 5 centimeters from the top, you actually almost see as if I'm touching the top of the cube, the 3D cube, with the pencil in the air. Now what I meant by camera angle is that if you notice that once I start moving my phone to different camera angles, the 3D perspective is lost. So this is what I mean by when you draw 3D, always remember the exact point of your camera angle. There we go. So I hope you enjoyed this first tutorial video, and if you did, please help share and subscribe to this channel. And in the next few videos, what I will be doing is 5 cool things you can draw with a 3D cube. Stay tuned. Thank you very much. Bye bye.